dearest friends of good design. Welcome to the Daily Creative Challenges in Adobe Illustrator. I am your host, Julia Masalska. Welcome everybody in the chat. I see Aaron, Wade, and Stoney's here, and Richard, Laura. Awesome. And Amara is joining. So cool. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. It's going to be super fun today, I promise. For all of you who are joining from YouTube, make sure to head over to be.net/live. This is where I'm going to be reading your questions, and this is where you get the chance to ask about anything that I'm going to be presenting today. So, is everybody excited for some label design today? Today's challenge is going to be all about designing a label in Adobe Illustrator for a summer drink for our summer festival that we've all been working so hard on, and it's been such a fun ride, and I'm really enjoying seeing all the submissions. Cool. Awesome. Aaron is saying already downloaded the new file, and that's great. You can download the starter file if you go to behance.net/challenge/illustrator. This is where you can get access to all the challenges and challenge starter files. So for example, today's starter file you can find here. When you click get started, you can find the download file right here, and then simply go in and download it to your computer and open it up in Adobe Illustrator. So your file should look something like this. We will be designing on top of this artboard, and I already created some design assets for you that you can feel free to use. Awesome. So for all of you first timers here, and by the way, let me know in the chat if you all are here for the first time. That would be great to know. Join us on bit.ly/AI Discord. This is our Discord community where you can submit your daily creative challenges and get some feedback. This is where you can also get connected with all the other creatives and mods from Adobe. So, hi Paco. Yes, new mic. I'm so excited. Hi Katiuska. Good to see you. Wade is here. Wade just posted a link in the chat that you can use to access our Discord channel. So make sure to join us there. All right, let's jump back and let's get started right away. First of all, I wanted to take a quick look at some of your submissions from yesterday, and I thought they were so awesome. That's why I kind of wanted to present some of them. We have Nadia with challenge number 5 with the ice cream truck. How cool is this? I mean, these colors and these really cool texture elements inside the truck are looking so amazing. And Mariam here with challenge number 6 with our truck menu. I love how you use the assets here, especially when we zoom in here into this part right here, and you use the ice cream and you use the slogan that I've provided in the starter assets. How cool is that? I mean, you're doing a great job. I'm really proud of all of you. And we have Nadia here also submitting some other challenges here. How cool is this? Some wristbands, and it's all just looking so fun. And for me, it's also really fun to kind of remember that it's summer outside, and we all are kind of trying to get out this summer, unlike last summer, and hopefully go to some maybe festivals and do some fun stuff. Cool. This is also really nice, one of our past challenges. And by the way, if you're just joining us, feel free to check out the past challenges here on our creative challenge page, as I said, on behance.net/challenge/illustrator. And if you go down here, you will find past challenges, and when you click get started, you can access all of these other starter files as well. And if you're done with those challenges, you can even scroll further down and explore past challenge series, and they're all hosted by different designers and by different hosts. So it's also really a cool way to explore and to continue learning if you feel eager to do more than one challenge a day. So friends, let's get started. And today we're going to be designing a label for our lovely summer drink for our festival. All right, so first thing that I would like for you to do is, if you're new in Illustrator, make sure to activate this properties panel. If you go here into window and go onto properties down here and click onto that so it's activated, do that please. The properties panel is truly amazing. For anything that you do, it will show you just the right things that you need to access. So let's say I'm Right now I have my little shape selected. It will show me all the different color options, stroke options. It will also show me alignment options to other objects. If I select two objects at the same time, I will even get the pathfinder to create some connections between those. So let's take a quick look at what we've got. So we have our artboard right here. This is the artboard that we're going to be designing on. Okay, and today's challenge also has to do with gradients. So we're going to be building some fun gradients. And before we start, let's build out our bottle shape, and let's let's create ourselves something that looks like a bottle so we can put our label on it. Okay, so I'm going to use the rectangle tool up here, and I'm going to create something arranged somewhat like this, and I'm going to make that look like kind of like the bottom part of the bottle. Now let's create another shape up here that's going to be the bottle top, and it's going to be just a little bit slimmer, right? And what we want to do is we want to select both of these objects, go into the alignment tools, and make sure that we have them horizontally center aligned, right? So now we make sure that both of these objects are centered to each other, which is going to be really helpful to us. Now that we have the two main shapes, let's work out in the shape that's connecting those two shapes and also the bottom part. Okay, so for the top shape, what we can do is we can build another rectangle just like this, and then we can go into the direct selection tool, which is the arrow just underneath the regular selection tool, and we're going to select this point up here, and holding shift we're going to select the other right point, and we're going to click onto this little circle, and we're going to drag it towards the middle. And this way we will get these two corners rounded, okay? Because we have selected the two top corners, the left one and the right one, and we are giving them a radius. Okay, so now we have kind of created our bottle shape. Now let's go into the bottom part. And what can we do? We can make something really simple. We can just copy this element from the top using the selection tool. I'm holding Option and just dragging it down, and now I'm going to turn it around, and when you turn just like that, you'll be able to stop at any angle. But if you hold Shift, Illustrator will help you find every 45-degree angle and snap to that. So I love using Shift while doing that. So I'm going to place it right underneath my other rectangle, and as you can see, Illustrator has these really helpful guides that you can turn yourself on. They're called smart guides, and that you can turn on if you go into View and turn on, make sure the smart guides are activated. Now all of these other ones, for now, we can keep them all off, right? So make sure the smart guides are on. They're really, really helpful for us today. Now, if we look at this bottle, it kind of looks like the bottom is a little round, right? So the bottle looks like it's almost gonna, fall over. So what we want to do is we want to select this shape, and we want to go into this little circle. Let's see. Direct selection. Oh yeah, so our little rounded edges here, our diameter, we can change by clicking into the circle up here that we kind of dragged into the middle at the top, and we're going to grab it and drag it back, almost getting the regular edge, but just giving it a small roundness, like a smaller radius. Okay, and since we have clicked on it with the direct selection tool, Illustrator knows that we want to do that right here and not anywhere else. So all right, so we've got that. We have our bottle looking shape. Now we can go in up here. Of course, we can also adjust the edges up here just a little bit and give them a little bit of roundness. So again, I'm going with the direct selection tool, clicking on that edge and holding Shift and clicking on that one and just giving it a slight radius, just a little bit. Okay, now this bottle looks pretty much like a real bottle. Now we're going to select all of these shapes with the regular selection tool, and we're going into the Pathfinder, and we're going to unite them. Okay, we're going to unite them to a whole shape. Now our bottle is a whole shape. We can even create copies of it by holding Option. But for now, let's concentrate on our label design. And for that, we're going to, again, use the rectangle tool, and we're going to place a rectangle somewhat like you see, you know, labels placed on a bottle in the store. And for that, we're going to go and select a different color for now. So now what we're going to do is we are going to work with the gradient tool. And for that, I'm going to select the rectangle and I'm going into my gradient. The gradient tool you can also find with the shortcut G on your keyboard. So I'm going to click that. And once I have clicked that, you can see here on the right side, we have the radial gradient, we have the freeform gradient, and we have the linear gradient. And those three gradients are all completely different. The linear gradient will look somewhat like this, where you have a linear path that is basically defined by several colors that are arranged on the path, and they're all arranged in a linear way. Now, if we select the radial gradient, we will see that we have a circle in the middle and we have it spread out to a different color, right? And in the same way, we can go in and adjust the gradient as we want. But one of the funnest gradients that I really love is the freeform gradient. And the freeform gradient creates several points, and we can move those points around, and those points all have a specific color. Here we have orange, here we have white, here we have green and black. All right. Now, if we click anywhere outside of these points, we can add an additional point. If we want to remove any of these points, we can drag this point out of the shape and it will be removed. Okay, or you can just double click on it and click delete on your keyboard. That works too. But you can add multiple points to this and you can make this really fun. You can also use the eyedropper tool that we've been using in the past challenges as well. So you have to select the color that you want to change. By the way, we have a little circle around the color right here. You can see, and once we drag the circle around, let me zoom out so you can see what is happening. So if I drag the circle in and out, you will see that I'm able to spread out the color more or less, right? So each of these colors I can adjust by spreading it with this little circle. All right, to change the color, double click into the circle and you'll be able to use the color picker, the eyedropper. And we can select any of these colors from our artboard, or you can also create yourself your own color palette and adjust those colors. Now, let's say you got out of the selection and you can't access the points anymore. What to do? How do I adjust my gradient? So what you can do is you can select this rectangle that has the gradient in it, and then simply also make sure to be in the fill, right? We have the fill and the stroke, and sometimes a gradient can be applied to a stroke. So we want to make sure that we are in the fill, and then we can go again into our properties panel and edit gradient. So it's the option right here, edit gradient, and now we are able to access these points again. Please feel free to ask questions if you have any in the chat. Cool. What's the gradient called? This gradient is called freeform gradient. Then we also have the radial gradient and the linear gradient. The freeform gradient is the one with multiple points, and it's really, really fun to play with. And by the way, there are several ways to create gradients in Adobe Illustrator. You can also create color shapes and then blur them out. That's also possible, but that's just another technique. All right. Let me show you that. Actually, it's actually really fun too. So you can do, for example, something like using a shape, then making it a color, right? And then you can even just draw your own random shape and then go into Effect, Blur, Gaussian blur. And then you can blur it out so that it looks like a blurred out shape. And then you can kind of place multiple shapes on top of each other, and in that way you can also create a type of gradient. So I'm going to, let's say, sample something like this, and you can also create gradients this way. So that's also really fun. You can also feel free to play around with that. Actually, why not just do that? Let's just do that. So I'm going to grab one of these colors, And you know, it's always creating something. There is not always just one way. There are always different ways to create something. And in this case, you know, blurring out and placing things on top of each other, you can even use opacity here. So let's say we have this shape and it's blurred out, and here we can adjust the opacity, let's say minimize it. And then this color will be mixing up with the background and mixing up with this other color way better. So feel free to do that. And then you can also even go in and draw your own shape with a pencil tool, for example. So you can go in and do something like this, let's say, and then let's use the eyedropper with the letter I as a shortcut. And let's create a shape like this, for example. Now let's go back to the blur, effect, blur, Gaussian blur, something like this. Now make sure it's quite blurred out, but also is functional for us. So maybe something like this, right? And then let's say we have our shape looking out of our label, and that's not something that we want. So we can create a mask around it. We are going to use a rectangle tool, place a rectangle, kind of framing the part of the gradient that we want to use. Select both of these, so the rectangle and our blurred shape, holding shift, and then click make clipping mask either in the properties panel, or right click and click make clipping mask, just like that. How cool is this? This is so fun. All right, and now let's make our bottle a different color, maybe this orange or maybe a red, whatever you prefer. Maybe even oh, this actually looks pretty cool as well, green on green. Now let's you know, put some graphics on it. Let's put some text on it, because we have to name our drink. So okay, in order to make round corners, you have to go into the stylized option. So to make round corners, what you do is you can use the rectangle tool, or you can also use the rounded rectangle if you like, but both works. And here you can use the direct selection to select the corners that you want to round. For example, I'm going to select the top left one and the bottom right one. Holding shift, I'm going to select the second one, and now I can, you know, drag them both towards the middle and round the corners that way. We can create some shape that is a little like leaf formed, and why not just add it to our design, because it kind of looks like it belongs here. Isn't that funny? All right, something like this maybe, or maybe like a darker green. Why not? We are here to experiment, right? So let's do something like this. And so now let me actually copy that. You know, copying things sometimes makes it look like it's on purpose. So let's just copy that. Let's arrange that one to the front. Ah, interesting, huh? And let's arrange that one to the front. And you can play around with shapes overlaying each other, of course. Okay, cool. So we have something fun going on here. Now let's give it a name. So what's the name of our drink? Cool. Let's see. Do you have any suggestions for the drink name? Bending is a product image. Okay. All right. All right. Gaussian blur looks pixelated. Shouldn't be. Maybe you are too much in the zoom, but cool. All right. Awesome. Yes, you can always rewind the stream and you can always rewatch this. So now let's give this a name. I'm not sure what we should name this this drink. Actually, let's make it easier for ourselves to use text, and let's just use text from here. And I'm going to hold Option and bring this little synth mask up here. Right click, arrange, bring to front. And what are we going to name our drink? Let's give it a nice name. Maybe like Coco Loco or something like that. Coco Loco sounds good. Coco Loco sounds like a summer drink. Cherry Fusion, Green Power, Booster Juice. Okay, all right. Let's do Cherry Fusion. And in the same way, you know, you can create alternates of that. You can create multiple drinks. So we can go in and do a cherry fusion. Then we can go in, let's make our font size a little bit smaller by going into our character styles and going a little bit down like that. And let's place that just on top, and let's make that white using the shortcut I on your keypad, and sampling another color. Or you can just go into the fill and double click and use any color that you want. But I think this looks pretty cool. I'm kind of liking this so far. Our label is not really sticking out because it's kind of matching the bottle, but what we can do is we can create a little drop shadow. If we go into Effect, Stylize, drop shadow, and then we can go in and make that maybe 2 pixels and 2 pixels, something like this, so that our label kind of stands out from the bottle. Now, let's create a copy of this and let's name it something else, and let's change up the colors. Maybe this can be the Cherry Fusion, and we can have different options. Ooh, this looks fun too. And just make sure when you select the things that you don't select anything from the other. By the way, to scale down, and use the Option key to scale from both directions. So that's fun. Okay, holding Option, I'm making another copy again, and let's change that color to something else, maybe the pink. Hey, look, we have 3 different designs going on. Now let's see what names we've got. Booster Juice, let's make that Booster Juice. Booster. And by the way, sometimes when I select my text and it shows me this background, you know, kind of being the opposite color of what the background actually is, it's so fun. And I'm about to kind of create a rectangle here that has like a contrast, but I'm gonna stay away from that. Let me know if that happens to you as well. Booster, what was it? Booster Juice. Okay, that works. Now another one, Green Power. Or actually, maybe let's make that Booster Juice, and that one Green Power, because it's green. Green Power. All right, so we have 3 drinks going on here. How cool. Let's give them some lids. We don't have no lids. So I'm going to create another little rectangle here, and I'm going to place it just above. And with the direct selection tool, again, I'm going to go in and select the top corners and make them match. Okay, make that just we want to be more realistic. So let's make that just a tiny bit wider. And I'm going to use the black color, letter I, and I'm going to create these little lids for our drink. Like that. How cool. And now let's also create a background real quick. And the background can be, again, I'm using the letter I to sample a color, maybe this orange. And now, of course, our rectangle, since we have created it last, it's placed on top. So I'm going to right click, arrange, send to back. Cool, we have our Booster Juice, and we can make the background a gradient as well if we wanted to. We can be really fancy and fun. Okay, here's I was just blacking out. Where is my gradient? By the way, you can also use the mesh tool to create a gradient. Did you know that? So mesh tool, you can also create several points in your design, and you can use the direct selection tool and grab any of these points and use the eyedropper tool and make them a different color. Whoa. Okay, so this is another way of making a gradient. Cool, right? We're learning so many new things today. But make sure to go into the direct selection tool and select the points using Shift. And then I'm using the eyedropper to sample another color. Now, you know what's also cool? What we can do is, again, with the direct selection tool, go in and select one of these points and pull them around. Pull them around and these colors will mix up. And it's so fun. It's also another fun way to create gradients. I think we went through all of them today. Cool. This is so cool. This is really fun. Now it's kind of blending a little bit with our green bottle. So let's go into our gradient mesh and pull this around a little bit. It's to make sure that we have some orange here, or maybe we can make this point orange. So I'm going to use the eyedropper again, like that, creating some cool flow in here. All right, so I want you to experiment and to play around with this. I know this can be so much fun. Then go into File, Export for screens, and then export this artboard, and then put it into our Discord channel right here, bit.ly/AI Discord. Just place your design there and using the hashtag challenge. So that's where we submit our challenges. Okay, friends, hopefully this was fun, and I am excited to see your submissions, and I will also see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. So have a great day and have fun experimenting with different types of gradients. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.